Hello and welcome viewer to Rolling Solo. I am the solo roller. And today we have the first actual episode of gameplay. What should have been episode one, I guess, but we had world building, character creation, etc. So this will be the first episode we get some gameplay and then jump into this world with our character Montblanc. But before we start proper, I'd like to actually introduce Montblanc. So this is Montblanc. I generated him using stable diffusion, and while not perfect or anything like that, I think this piece of art here will more than adequate for our purposes. So there you go. This is Montblanc, our hero for this journey. As the series goes on, I'll be introducing new characters and things and what have you generated using the same stable diffusion program. So expect to see more characters with a similar aesthetic. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. So last time when we finished up character creation, we said that Montblanc had a meeting, or he was invited, I should say, to a meeting with Abelin. 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 I've been trying to work on my French pronunciations a little bit. Probably not better at all. But uh, Montblanc has a meeting with Abelin, and they are at Abelin's countryside estate. He's got this large manor villa. I'll try to put something up on screen right now to kind of evoke that kind of imagery. He's probably got animals, maybe stables, horses, of course. He's like a noble, an aristocrat. So I imagine him having some sort of small ranch off to the side, maybe with like pigs and chickens and stuff like that that the servants raise to as food and stuff like that. Stables just to have horses to ride around and have fun and stuff like that, noble stuff. Um, and then just large grounds just to kind of roam around and maybe a little wooded area that that the people could go in and explore in and not explore but just kind of enjoy the natural scenery. And then of course the manor itself, the villa itself, probably some kind of like two-story manor, uh, very Victorian Renaissance esque, medieval European vibe to it. Um, and then, of course, in addition to that, we have a gamut of servants, assistants, and guards and things of that nature. Just to that Abelin would have brought with him. Being a noble, he's a super wealthy, of course, and he can afford all of this riches and excess and stuff like that. So Abelin's goals are to reduce the corruption in the kingdom of Epernay, and I'm pretty sure that's we established before, of course, that's why Montblanc is here. But that's enough recap. Let's go ahead and dive right in. I want to, before we get into any kind of character back and forth, I want to get a solid reason. It'll help me a lot. I think that it'll help me guide their conversation and just kind of where to take it all. I want to get a solid idea of why, let's dive deeper into why Abilene invited Montblanc here. Is there something that he wants to talk about specifically? Does he just want to talk specifically like about the corruption in general, or yeah? I'm gonna roll on the Mythic's action description table, action meaning tables, and just to see if it jogs, if it sparks something in my head, and like we have that kind of like, oh, that's it kind of moment or not. And if not, then I'll roll on another table, maybe motivations or something, and see if we could get something out of that. So let's go ahead and do that. Rolling on actions table here, 93 gives us trap, 84 gives us strength. Trap strength, okay. Trap strength. That okay, I think we can do something with that. So I think Abilene wants to trap the strength, trap the power of some of the corrupt officials. Maybe he has some intel or something that maybe he has his intel on some kind of plan and that's in place right now to that might be going on, and he wants Montblanc to help him, or maybe just Montblanc himself. He wants to hire Montblanc on to go and ruin or foil the plans of these corrupt people. I think I like that. Trap strength. All right. So from that, let's see what I can get. Let's see what I can get from trap strength. I think we're going to start asking Mythic some questions at this point, just to kind of guide us along. So trap whose strength is my question, would be my question for Mythic. Is it another noble house? Maybe another one of the big noble houses in Epernay. Let's ask that. Asking a fate question here. And for the odds, I'm actually not sure at all. 50-50 basically. And yes, Chaos rank starts at 5. It lets you plug in the question here just to have it as a reference, but I'm just gonna roll it. All right, so we came up with a yes. Okay, so it's another of the big noble houses. So Mythic actually has a noble house chart here that I'm really curious about. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll on that. I think it's like more of an identifier. It can give you a better idea of what a noble house is or looks like or feels like, the vibe of them maybe. But I'm not entirely sure, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll on that. Okay, we got a 41. And then a 73. Investment return. Investment return. So that actually makes me think of two separate things. Maybe this other noble house, this target of Abelin's, that he has information on, they're either some sort of noble family that's involved in banking, investment return. So yeah, some sort of banking family, or they're a family that specializes in the return of your investments, i.e., it's like a noble family that became rich off of like a mercenary company or something like that, hiring out their goons to kind of get people's money back, I guess. So I'm actually just gonna roll 50-50 on that, or not on the Mythic. I'm just gonna roll a d6. High being the mercenary idea, low being the banking idea. For that, we got a 4 high. So the mercenary idea. Okay, so we have a noble family that Abeline has information on, and they specialize in mercenaries and like bodyguards, I'm gonna say. Yeah, like private security. Yeah, that's even better. They specialize in like private security. So Abeline has some information on this particular noble family, and he wants Montblanc to do something to hinder their corrupt practices. Yeah, that's cool. Let's go with that. Okay, cool. So let's set the scene here a bit. At the back of the manor, there is a large balcony with marble buttresses and railings. This balcony overlooks a freshly cut field in the back of the manor. On the balcony itself is a table with a tea set on top of it. The finest of porcelain ware that you can get in anywhere in the kingdom. A couple of chairs are set out with real nice cushions in vivid colors. There are multiple servants, multiple maids, and butlers standing kind of at attention, ready to be ordered to perform whatever task. Off to the side, and sitting in the two chairs are our two characters, Montblanc on the left, and then Abeline on the right. Abeline is simply looking out upon his estate, as there's some dogs running around in the his dogs, of course, running around in the field playing. He's just sitting there enjoying the scenery. Montblanc is kind of looking down at his hands that he has cupped, one inside the other, kind of on his lap. This kind of I think this kind of environment makes him a little uncomfortable. He's just not used to it. He was a peasant, a farmer boy, right? He's just not used to it. And then he looks up a bit and sees the environment that he's in, and kind of reminds him of home almost. Just the scenery, the woods and the forest, and he takes it all in. And it's at that point that Abelin steps in. He looks over to Montblanc. Montblanc, are you all right? You seem a little distressed. And Montblanc looks over and he says, "Oh no, I'm quite all right. I appreciate you asking. You have a very beautiful home here, Abilene." Abilene responds, "Why, thank you. I do take quite good care of it. It was a gift to me from my grandfather." Yes, I can see." Montblanc looks around, just kind of studying the manor behind him, towering above him, the 2 stories. Abilene lifts a finger, and with the flick of a wrist, a couple maids come over and start to serve them tea from the tea set that is currently on the table. Abilene picks up the teacup, brings it to his mouth, and just kind of sits there, kind of one hand on the saucer, the other on the handle of the cup itself, and then slowly takes a sip, and then puts it back down with a clink, and then a sigh. You know, this kingdom, this nation, I am proud of it, but it is not the same. It is not what it once was. Do you know what I'm talking about, Montblanc? Montblanc, being a little on the more clueless side, shakes his head and says, "No, I'm not quite sure, Abilene." Well, it was not too long ago that the people, they enjoyed life. They enjoyed being members of this nation. They didn't have to fight so hard for common rights, common services. They didn't have to struggle so much for what they were going to eat that day. I've seen it. I've taken tours of neighborhoods in the kingdom, in the capital, and I did not like what I saw. Children going without food, people adjusting lifestyles to more illicit activities just to make ends meet, and it made me very unhappy. But I think I want to do something about it, Montblanc. I think I'm ready to do something about it. Montblanc nods and says, and what would that be, Abilene? Well, I have recently acquired some information. It cost me a tidy sum, but I think it'll help. And if you will assist me in such a thing, I think we can improve the lives of our fellow countrymen. Would this be of interest to you? Montblanc, being who he is, says, well, he nods and says, yes, of course, something like that would interest me. I think I want to help whenever I can. Abilene slowly nods, takes another sip. Very well. Please, enjoy your tea. Do not let it get cold. After some time of them just kind of going back and forth about other just kind of life stuff. Nothing too particularly interesting. Abilene does finally speak up and say, Montblanc, the information that I possess, it regards another of the kingdom's noble families. Let's actually pause here and come up with a name for this other noble family. Going back to my handy dandy French name generator, I'm gonna go over and just hit the generator button a couple times and see what we get. Duhamel? Duhamel. I like that. So the noble house of Duhamel. Yeah, that sounds good. The noble house of Duhamel. So, Abilene says to him, the noble house of Duhamel, they seem to be taking money from criminal elements and performing services with their private security groups for these criminal elements. This, of course, I cannot stand. A noble house supporting or being supported by a criminal organization. This is something that cannot be. I simply will not stand for it. I have information about the particular job that the Duhamel security group was paid to undergo. It seems that some criminal element, or perhaps some other corrupt body, was interested in some land not too far from here, actually. It is a farm of substantial size, and it seems that this other interested party wants to snatch it up for themselves, perhaps, or do something else with the land. So they have contracted the Duhamel group to oust the farmer from his land. I simply cannot have this. I will not let it rest. I will not let it be. Montblanc, I will pay you a substantial sum to go to this farm and stop this from occurring. These men, they have signed over their souls to evil, and please, will you take this job? Montblanc, his tea already having been finished, looks out at the scenery and kind of remembers why he set out to be an adventurer. He wants to better the lives of the people. This farmer, of course, being one of the people. One of the most common of people, in fact. And he realizes that that's exactly why he became an adventurer, to help those types of people. So he nods, says, yes, I think I can do this. Yes, of course. Abilene nods with a smile and says, thank you, friend. You have my gratitude. And with that, I think we can wrap up the scene there. So Abilene has hired Montblanc to go to this farm that's not terribly far away and protect the farm from this group of mercenaries, essentially, that are going to come and oust the farm in order to hand it over to some nefarious third party. All right, cool. We can wrap that scene up and move on to the next one. We go over to our lists, and we don't have any new characters, but we have a new thread in this job that was given to Montblanc. So I'm going to go ahead and add that as well. And then I think Montblanc was mostly in control, so the chaos factor goes down to 4. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna set up the expected scene for the next scene, and roll to see if we get that scene or if it's altered or interrupted in some kind of way by the Mythic GM emulator. So we're gonna go ahead and do that by well, let's set our expected scene. I think the expected scene is that Montblanc gets to the farm essentially. He wrapped up the meeting at the villa, and he set off for this farm that's not too far away. I think it's within a day's walk. So it's, if that was morning at the villa, maybe it's, I don't know, afternoon or something by the time he gets there. So obviously he has all his equipment and stuff on him. So yeah, I think that's it. The expected scene would be that he arrives at the farm. Then we roll to see if the scene is altered or interrupted in any kind of way. I'll go ahead and do that. All right, no, scene proceeds as normal. So he gets to the farm. Awesome. Okay, so here's a question for Mythic. Are the marks already here? That I'm not entirely, well, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just gonna roll, roll that as a question and as a 50-50. No, they're not here. Just barely too. We had a 56 out of a 50 on that one. Oh, actually no, the chaos factor's 4 now, so it skews the odds a bit. All right, so yeah, regardless, we have a no on that. So, awesome. So he gets to the farm, and the mercs are not there. So what I'm assuming would be just kind of a normal farm then, a normal farm scene. Montblanc is a farmer. He grew up on a farming village, so he's very familiar with all this. He goes up to the farm and kind of looks out at the fields to see if the farmer's already out there. Is he out there? Yeah, let's see. Is the farmer out working? Again, 50-50 because we have no idea really. No, so the farmer's not out. So Montblanc is gonna stroll up to the house and knock. After a couple bangs, the farmer comes out. What's the farmer look like? I'm gonna roll appearance just to have fun with this GM emulator. There's like a million tables, and I kind of want to use as many of them as possible. Okay, so 32, and then a 99. Okay, so familiar wounded. Interesting. Familiar wounded. Okay, so that says to me that this farmer has wounds. He doesn't have wounds necessarily. He has like scars maybe that are pretty obviously from battle. That would make them familiar to Montblanc. Him being like an adventurer, maybe he like cuts bruises and stuff like that. So maybe the farmer comes out and he has this nasty like sword scar, kind of like maybe on his face or something, kind of very very immediately visible. The farmer comes out. Oi, yes. What do you need? And Montblanc says, well, I was good afternoon, sir. I was sent by a concerned party to help protect your property, your farm. The farmer comes back at him. What are you talking about? No one's here. No one's attacked me. This area is kind of safe, somewhat safe, regardless. What do you want about? Montblanc comes back at replies. Well, sir, we have reason to believe that an evil evil aligned group is coming to kick you off your land, violently or not. I'm not entirely sure, but we do have strong evidence to support that that will be happening very very soon. Does the farmer believe him? So at this point is usually when you have to kind of me as a GM, I have to ask myself, do I want to use Fabula Ultima, or do I want to use Mythic to answer that question? Because you definitely use both, or I mean use either. You could do like a skill check or something, or just simply ask a question for Mythic. I'm gonna take a look at Montblanc's sheet here. and say that I'm gonna do it through the through Fabula Ultima. I kind of want to get some more experience with the system and kind of get used to how the mechanics for that work. So, um, a normal test is a combination of two attributes, and it doesn't have to be two different attributes. It could be the same one. Um, for this, my gut is telling me that it's insight plus willpower, because he's trying to, like, obviously, like, convince this guy that this is a real threat. So my insight is a d6, and my willpower is a d10. And then we check that against a difficulty level, and I'm just going to say it's a normal difficulty level of 10 for this. We roll those two dice and add them together, and if our combined total is equal to or exceeds the difficulty level, then we succeed. So we roll a d10 and a d6. Oh, 10 on the dot. Okay. So this farmer is looking at him a little like he's, like, a little crazy, but he slowly nods, and maybe it's that experience, that, like, maybe he just was a soldier in the past or something like that, and he kind of, like, slowly nods, and he kind of puts on a more serious face. Oh, all right, all right, all right. I believe you. Um, what do we do? How many of them is there? Do you know? And Montblanc kind of, like, thinks to himself, "Oh, dang, I don't know." Then he looks at the farmer and he shakes his head. No, no, sir, I'm not sure how many of them there might be. Um, can you fight? Are you capable of fighting? Um, this guy was, like, we've already established, is probably a former soldier or something. So I'm gonna say, yeah, he probably is capable of fighting. He probably even has some sort of weapon in his house. If he's living here, kind of, like, out in the countryside, I'm sure he would anyway. But him being a former soldier, probably he would have something a little extra, So I'm just gonna say, yeah, he has something in the house. And when Montblanc asks him, "Can you fight?" The farmer emphatically nods his head and he says, "Oh, I've got just the thing." So he runs into the house, and Montblanc kind of sits basically on watch out front, keeping an eye out for any trouble, basically. And then after maybe 5-10 minutes, and some, like, rustling and stuff going on inside the house, the farmer comes out of the house, out of the front door, wearing kind of almost, like, ill-fitting like, leather armor, maybe like a footman's, like, leather armor or something like that, and a halberd on the side that he kind of, like, props on the ground. This is Bess. I used her in the wars. Oh, I love that. That's a great detail. Montblanc just kind of, like, puts on a half smile, obviously amused by this, and nods and says, "Perfect, sir. Anyone that comes, I'm sure we'll be ready. We should set up some sort of ambush or traps or anything like that. Do you know of any kind of bushcraft or techniques to set up traps or anything?" And then the farmer, would he? Maybe from his time in the army or something. That's definitely a mythic question, so I'm gonna ask. Would the farmer know any kind of bushcraft, any kind of trap making, things like that? He is a soldier, but I'm gonna say it's kind of unlikely. Just because he's a farmer and we don't know how much time he spent in the army. So yeah, it's kind of just unlikely. No, he would not know any kind of bushcraft or trap making or anything like that. The farmer shakes his head and he says, "Alas, I do not." So Montblanc just nods and says, "Well, let's find some good hiding spots and see what we can make of this situation." The farmer nods, and they go off to kind of find a decent hiding spot. I'm gonna say like they have ample time, basically. Like, they're not being, like, there's no one around to see them hide, and they can kind of take their time doing it. I'm not gonna roll for them to find a spot. I'm gonna say they kind of took their time and looked and scouted around and found a decent spot to kind of do some kind of ambush or something. So with them waiting that out, I think that's the end of scene 2. Yeah, I'm gonna call that the end of scene 2 there. Oddly enough, they were, the characters were mostly in control here. Montblanc was mostly in control there, so the chaos factor again goes down to 3. What do we expect for scene 3? Well, that's actually to me that's kind of obvious. I think whatever mercs that were hired to do this thing, they arrive essentially, and that's my expected scene. So I'm gonna see if we have an alteration or interrupt or anything. Let's go ahead and roll that. Oh, okay. A 2. So we have an interrupt. And that is a NPC action. And that NPC action is release tactics. Release tactics. So we roll on the characters list to see which NPC does this action. We rolled a 1. The red dragon from his youth. Okay. Oh man, talk about going from 0 to 10 real quick. Okay, so how do we do this? So NPC action is an event that some NPC does something to impact the current adventure. Okay, release of tactics. The ambush would be a tactic, right? And releasing it. So what if I'm thinking what if the red dragon like soars overhead? It's not necessarily gonna like intervene, it doesn't know what's going on, but it soars high overhead and Montblanc sees this. And he, of course, we know he hates dragons. Oh man. So oh man, that's tough. Okay. Release of tactics. I think it would force. Okay. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. Yeah. I know what's going to happen. Okay. So we see Montblanc and this farmer in their ambush positions. Then we hear a roar kind of cover the area coming from the skies. And both of these characters look at Montblanc and the farmer look up and see this, not as big as you'd expect, since it's not a fully grown. It's still a young red dragon. They take forever to age, of course. It's this dragon flying high overhead, and Montblanc is just kind of like captivated by this. He remembers everything, like the event from his youth, and the adventure and the whole thing, and I think this kind of breaks him out of the like ambush mode that he's in, and he like stands up and starts to like run out of his position to get a better look at the dragon and see where like what direction it might be heading, because like maybe he's in like an underbrush, like there's some trees and stuff, and can't quite get a good look at it, so he like runs out of his cover to like get a track on where the dragon might be heading, like what direction. So dang, Montblanc just kind of breaking tactics like this that's nuts. My question would be though, does him coming out of cover, jumping out of cover like that, give his position away? Like are the mercs like here and they see him jump out of like the position? That's definitely a mythic question. So do the mercs now see him that he has jumped out of position? He's basically like gone out of his hiding spot, his ambush spot. I'm gonna say it's very likely, because the mercs were on their way. Maybe because Montblanc was already kind of in the area, he got here first, and that kind of gave him an advantage. But this whole event and the dragon flying overhead kind of threw a wrench in that for sure. So yeah, I'm asking Mythic GM Emulator, do the mercs see him now that he's out of his ambush position? Very likely. We roll a 46. Yes. Okay, yeah, they definitely do. It's not an exceptional yes for anything like that. He's not like caught out in the open. But I'm gonna say he runs out onto the road, and as he's trying to get a better look at this dragon, he runs headfirst into the group of mercs that were coming to steal this farmer's land. Oh man, talk about uh botching it here. Okay, awesome. So Montblanc, I think at this point Montblanc would kind of realize what he's done. He like looks over to the mercs. How many of them is there? I don't want to like kill our character immediately, so there's not going to be like 10 of them or anything like that. Plus it's just the farmer. Honestly, the chance that there's two of them is going to be like astronomical. So um, let's see. Is there more than two? Because I'm sure there's probably two, but I'm gonna ask GM Emulator, is there more than two? And that's gonna be a impossible. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's possible. 43. No, there's not more than two. Okay. So yeah, so there's two of them. There's a pair of mercs that were on their way here. They saw him as he was kind of like running down the road to get a better look at the dragon. You kind of ran into them, not ran into them physically, but like he stumbled across them as they were coming towards the farm. What's Montblanc's reaction? I think. Would he just kind of stand up and fight them there? They don't even know who he is, honestly, at this point. So maybe try some kind of subterfuge. I don't think Montblanc would try anything like underhanded or anything like that. It's just not his character, I think. Um, so but is he smart enough to like run away and try to get them into a better position so the farmer can like help him out? Um, I don't know. I'm gonna roll insight for that. Insight. Uh, so 2d6 with a 10 as the difficulty here. That's him like rolling his smarts basically to like realize his situation and try to like make the best of it. So rolling 2d6 here. 2 into 5 is a 7. No, he doesn't. Okay, so he's standing probably a good 30 feet from this pair of mercs, and he has his weapons drawn. There was a dragon, so yeah, I'm gonna say he's like it's an instinctual. Plus, he was already ready for the ambush, so he has his weapons out, his sword and board, basically. He looks at the mercs and he points his sword at them in this pose, this anime pose, of course. His shield kind of close to his chest, and his sword, his sword arm stretched out, pointing the sword at them. Foul mercenaries, you will not take this farmer's land. And obviously, he's giving away his motive here, his intentions here. So the mercs kind of like look at each other, and one of them kind of shrugs. Maybe he's like a little overconfident or something. It's just some kid, right? And yeah, I guess they prepare for battle. And that'll just about do it for episode 3. I really hope you've enjoyed our journey so far with Montblanc, and I'm really excited myself to see where it goes next. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead, leave a comment, like, and if you really liked it, then of course subscribe, and you will of course be notified for any future content. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you next time.